It's confirmed that United City have the automatic. Straight into Champions League, and then first and second here go.
There's an opportunity here, and we've got our first goal of the match. Leaves it to Ramsey to make it 3-0.
Welcome to the Copa Paulino Alcantara, the only domestic competition in the country in this year. I'm Paulo De Rosario alongside Darren Hartman, and we have a competition with everything to play for. There is a lot on the line here when you talk about what the champion can get, and that is a slot to represent the Philippines in Asia. It's going to be a great competition, Darren, just looking at all the teams here. One short in United City FC, and two short rather, also Maharlika Manila, not in the picture. But there is a lot of competition, a lot of great names to watch out for, and one that I'm sure we shouldn't take our eyes off.
Well, of course, this is the coming of a very exciting set of games. Kaya have everything to play for. They've already represented at the highest level, and of course, ADT, which had a number of players representing at the under-23 level for the national team. I mean, it's not just these two teams, but there's just so much to play for. I mean, for the fans out there who have been missing their football, welcome back. Be on the edge of your seat, because what I can remember from where we left off last time, the football in the PFL is really reaching a new level. There may be less teams, but there's definitely more quality.
So Kaya FC-Iloilo and the Azkals development team starting us off here. Take a look at the competition format. So two groups, Group A and Group B, Stallion Laguna and Dynamic Herb Cebu, already through to the semifinals after the pullout of United City. But still, they have to figure out the placement for that. And in Group B, one of these three teams will fall. Kaya FC, Iloilo, Azkals development team, and Mendiola FC 1991. And moving on from that, we're going to go on to a knockout semifinals between Group A and Group B. The first placer will face the second placer, and vice versa. And of course, the winner of that will proceed to the final. It is a short and sweet tournament here in the Copa Paulino Alcantara. And when you have so much on the line, again, each game matters. You drop a point, and that could spell disaster for your season. And each team here has the chance to really drop the points, considering just how good each team in this competition now is. We saw Mendiola last year take points away from Kaya, and who knows who could really peg down the Giants this time around. Take a look at Kaya FC Iloilo, champions back in 2018 and 2019, and undefeated in the PFL 2020 competition, but was unable to get to the first place after that draw against Mendiola, like I mentioned a while ago.
Well, I think something that people may ask is what's the difference between a league and the cup? Some teams are very good in leagues. Leagues can be quite cagey. You're playing for points. You really get a lot of time to assess the opposition that you're playing against. But where it comes to a cup, it's especially at the knockout phases, you lose and you're out. And obviously, looking at the history of Kaya, they're a very, very good cup team.
Well, Kaya, when you look at the history that they've had, they played in the Champions League of the AFC just this year. So they said that they were ready to compete as early as August, but because of the pandemic, we had to wait and wait. And here is our first lineup for the Copa. Paulino, Alcantara, Zach Banzon at the back after earning that position in the Champions League. Jovan Bedic up top, that will be one of the contenders for Golden Boot for sure.
Of course, and just looking at the lineup, you've just got the three at the back, the three mainstays. They've been there, done that. Mitchell's is a fantastic football player, and of course Rota, he's been there at the national team level and he's done it on the big stage. The three men at the back obviously need to be supported by wing backs or players getting up and down the lines, but it's really nice to see a team playing with two holding centre mids. We both know that Azkals is really, really good at just picking his little passes out, and that he'll be able to combine with Daniels and should be able to cause all sorts of problems for a young ADT team who will be playing to try to stop Kaya.
Well, talking about ADT, 11 new players for the Copa Paulino Alcantara, 4 of them coming from overseas. They were the third placers last time around, and Harvey Gayoso led the team in scoring with 4 goals last time around, and that is interesting considering that there was a lot made about him playing as a wingback, as a defensive winger, and here he is today as captain of the ADT, eager to build on what was a great season last time around.
Well, they come into the season relatively unknown. A lot of people have been asking for a development team to help support our national team and our progress of youth professional development. So here it is. And I think one of the biggest things about ADT last year was they won a lot of hearts. I mean, they really were, at some extent, the underdogs and the fans' favourites, because they really represent, and it's a glimpse into our future of what the national team could be like, and also for coaches who have helped produce players that have reached this level, we can start thinking, okay, also, where can we improve? What positions are missing? And of course, so much to play for. ADT, when they go out, there's SEA Games coming up again next year, and I believe that you would say in this lineup about 70% of the players are still available for selection at under 23 national team level.
So looking at the much talked about left wing back position, now you have Eric Gallantes playing there. Last season he was one of the better forward players of the Azkals development team, and in the system of Coach Scott Cooper, who will be replaced for this competition by Coach Giovanni Villagracia rather, that left wing back position, that right wing back position is fairly important considering how much they expect of them, both attacking and defending.
Yeah, I think the formations contrast between ADT and Kaya, and of course when you're playing with that back four, you're really expected your full-backs to be very comfortable on the ball, getting their heads up, and of course with the setup that they have with the holding centre mid, it's going to be really about how the 5 players at the back manage to rotate the ball properly, and then looking for players like Bias and Chong, who have been there and had been called up for senior national team and played at a good level as well. It's going to be about how they can all combine and bring it on this big stage against Kaya FC, who are going to be out to make sure that they get that first and important slot and make it to the Champions League.
Well, so many big names here. So you have Oli Bias, Eric Gallantes, Harvey Gayoso, so many players that already have caps internationally for the ADT. On the other end, for Kaya, Kenshiro Daniels, as well as become an Azkal, Arnel Aminta has already featured, and Simone Rota as well. So when you have all these international caliber players on the pitch right in front of you, fighting for a game that could really spell doom or gloom for your season, well, we're setting up fireworks here for you for our first match of the Copa Paulino Alcantara, coming at you live from the PFF National Training Center in Calamba, Laguna. It's such Carmona, Cavite rather, and it is such a great environment to be in right now, and it's a great way to see that football is back here in the Philippines domestically, and it would always be something that all the fans are looking out for. Now waiting for the start here as Kaya FC and ADT start to line up. And you look at the boys of ADT, we say that they're the younger ones, but really, their frames say otherwise.
Yeah, they're quite a big, strong physical group that are put through the ropes. They train really hard, as we know from their outings last season. They're very aggressive in the press. And I think it's going to be a game of contrast where Kaya have players who have, a few more seasons behind them. And of course, they do have some big physical players who are older and more experienced and will know how to use their bodies a little bit better. So it's going to be a really good game. It is star-studded. Yeah, it's like one generation almost against an up-and-coming generation. And these are the sorts of games that I hope people will tune in and watch. And there should be loads of youngsters out there watching this thinking, what do I need to do to get to this level? Because really, playing for ADT is a step to play for clubs like Kaya. And hopefully if you do really well, maybe even outside of the country. This is going to be a very, very good game of football.
So the teams come marching on the pitch as we get ready to start off the domestic season here for the Copa Paulino Alcantara. Again, the only domestic competition the country will have due to the ongoing pandemic. The organizers and the teams all moved mountains to make this happen, to stay fit, to stay healthy, and to bring us the game that we all love. The beautiful game is back here, as the ADT and Kaya will get us going in just a bit. And I'm sure watching with the entire nation are the other teams in this competition. Of course, we'd like to welcome Dynamic Herbs Cebu into the competition, into the PFF family, into the PFL. And of course, down in Laguna, who are adamant that they are healthier than they were last year and will finally showcase what they can do. And of course, Mendiola, perennial underdogs in their, well, according to them, they're always playing from the bottom. But if you've seen them play, they always fancy their chances. The way that they counterattack is still something that we talk about today. And they debuted 2 years ago. Again, it is an honor and a pleasure to bring this for you. I'm Paulo de Rosario alongside Darren Hartman. Darren will be the voice accompanying all the anchors that we have here because he's just so knowledgeable in the game. And of course, very good, has great relations with so many young players in this competition. As we take a look at Harvey Gayoso, Joven Vedic, captains for today. Joven is such a great servant for this Kaya team, has been a great goal scorer with a lot of history playing in the AFC Cup and also finding ways to just be a headache game in, game out. And Harvey Gayoso showing us that he isn't just a striker. He can play on the wing, he can play as a 10, he can play as a wing back, even though that is a word that a lot of his fans really don't like hearing. Harvey Gayoso, the wing back. He's proven that he could do it, but this time around, he's playing a bit more forward, so let's see what happens. Kaya in all black, ADT in all white for you here today. Our referee will be Clifford Daipuyat, accompanied by Relly Balila and Merlo Albano, who is the first female assistant referee credited by both FIFA and AFC from the Philippines. So we have a lot here for you here today, and Steve Surprenciencia is the fourth official. Kai will be playing from left to right of your screens, right to left rather of your screens, while ADT will be playing the other way. We'd like to say it's youth versus experience, but given the recent trials of this ADT team, some of their players did play in the AFC Under-23 Asian Cup. Well, they have a bit of experience themselves.
Well, for a lot of these players out here, this is going to be the whistle they've been waiting for a very long time.
Not just the players, all the fans as well. And I have to admit, Darren, I'm shaking off some rust here as well. I mentioned the wrong venue right when I was doing the introduction, but here we go. We get started, and we're going to get into game shape as they are.
I was just on the way up here, just trying to loosen off the old vocal cords and get back into the swing of things, and hopefully bring the best coverage that we can for all the fans that have been waiting to see this PFL action again.
So KFC get us started here, and KFC not afraid to apply a lot of pressure. You see Carlisle Mitchell, the big burly center back, right at the center circle, so that's how high they want to play. And if you're ADT, you're going to be used to this type of pressure. Header forward, as Zach Banzon will collect easily. So Zach Banzon, who really went through a trial by fire in the AFC Champions League. He has taken over the gloves from Michael Casas, who has been the longtime keeper of Kaya. And the flag goes up. First offside of the season, really. I'm still getting used to that, Darren.
Yeah, and of course these teams have been in preparation, mentally, not just physically. It's not easy to go long spells without playing competitive football. But I'm sure that there won't be any players out there that will need to shake off any sort of cobwebs. They will be very, very up for this. A very small bracket, 3 clubs, so it's only 2 games, 6 points up for grabs. This is a really good first game to kick off this this cup competition.
And you talk about game fitness. For all the experience that Kaya has, arguably ADT has the more fit players in terms of the last time they were able to actually get some competition in. As ADT already on attack, Oli Bias shuttling that forward. Now playing to the left. Is this a chance for ADT? Then Jones block, and another one. Carlisle Mitchell getting his body in the way.
And that is exactly what experience gets you. That ball fell nicely, and I think it was Troy Limbo that just tried to turn it in with the outside of his right foot. But it's a fantastic improvised piece of defending there by Mitchell.
Well, Horikoshi, right after the attempt, tried to drive by the right flank, almost by himself, and earns them a bit more possession here, well deep in the ADT territory. Well, this ADT team, they know that they're very well disciplined defensively. We saw that in the AFC Under-23 Asian Cup. Unfortunately, weren't able to score any goals, so let's see where it'll come from here. A corner here for Kaya. Short corner there. Mitchell tries to float that back in. Onside there, but then the defender gets in the way. Nervy moments there for ADT, and probably just a little ball watching there. Now shuttling that to the left side, no good. So a bit of a cagey start here for both teams, and as you can imagine, with so much pressure for each game, it's going to be a bit nip and tuck here. Let's take a look at this. Daniels unable to get a clean look at that one. Amita.
I know a lot of players who rate Amita. Very, very comfortable on the ball. You could see him there with a little reverse V-cut and then just switching the play so quickly, so sharply. What I like about Amita as well, he's not the biggest of players, and he can really be someone that players can look up to. The players who are playing, who might think, oh, I'm never going to be big enough to play this sort of game. Just watch the way that he plays. Fantastic football player, very, very tidy feet. And talking about fantastic football players, Matthew Custodio's development over the last couple of years has been excellent. Reverted back into centre-back, and he started off this move, and now ADT on the attack.
ADT trying to cut that short, no good, but it'll be a corner for the white shirts. Again, it's no surprise that this ADT is coiled up like a spring. They expect a lot of pressure, but take a look at this run on the left side.
Yeah, it's a lovely little cut pass there, and just trying to pick out Troy Limbo again on the edge of the box. But for Kaya, able to again just read the play, but you can see in transition how quick ADT were on the counter-attack, and that's something which Kaya will have to be careful of, because ADT will be wanting to get a goal. They have been goalless, if you include the under-23 national team, for 3 games now. So this side looks very attacking. They've got 3 players playing in that higher position there.
Kekkonen with the ball in, and Mitchell with the header away. Harvey Gayoso, the captain for the day, plays it back in. Limbo plays it all the way back to Olibias, who can play anywhere. It feels like he can start on wherever side that he's asked to, but he'll end up playing every single position on the pitch.
Yeah, I think some have made comparisons also to Schrock, a similar sort of playing style. Quite aggressive in his tackles, and really likes to put a good shift in. Probably one of the players he may have felt that he could have put in bigger performances when he was in Singapore. But I mean, that's football, and you can tell that he's here to prove a point and lead the lines from the right-hand side for ADT. But Kaya are also pressing quite high. It's interesting, just how high tempo the game is at the moment, considering we're only in the first 10 minutes still.
Harvey Gayoso couldn't keep possession there. Kekkonen tries to get it back. Now Gallantes shifting that forward again. So a lot of the attack of ADT focused on the left side. Owano unable to hold on to the possession. Ref says play on. No team able to really hold on to it here, but playing well deep in Kaya territory. Ball still stays with the white shirts.
Well, that's what I was saying. I mean, the press is really hard at the moment. It's quite high. Both teams are looking to not let the other team settle. And I think if we were to compare training hours, I think Kaya will probably have more training hours than ADT in between the league last year and now.
Well, again, if you talk to any member of this Kaya team, they said that they were ready to play last August. But again, due to the ongoing pandemic, we saw the cancellation of the league, the reinstitution of the Copa Paulino Alcantara. A lot has happened, again, due to the ongoing pandemic. And here we have this domestic competition here to make sure that we don't go a year without football, for sure. Kekkonen playing that further on, unable to find his teammate.
I really hope that the Copa Paulino Alcantara grows into, like the FA Cup, something which everybody dreams of playing in. The FA Cup, it doesn't matter what level you play at, you get an opportunity to try to make it, to that big 4th round, and I really hope that this can grow into something like that.
I was speaking to Commissioner Coco Torre. The plans are for the future to even find ways to add collegiate teams into the league, into the Copa Paulino Alcantara in the future. Again, the limitation here is due to the fact that there's so many restrictions that are being put to these teams, to this competition, for the sake of safety. Of course, the ongoing health situation is still evolving, and hopefully we have turned the corner.
And it's also important, that clubs like Kaya and ADT set a good example for, for other sports programs and teams when they restart their training, which hopefully will be soon, on how important it is to structure and to have those safety protocols. I mean, not just at the games, but at training, making sure we follow them at home as well, just so we can still have beautiful games of football like this.
And foul there on Owano. He's putting his arm around Amita.
I mean, you just mentioned collegiate football, and of course we have to remember that there are a number of players out here that do come from different collegiate programs, so I'm sure there's no love lost. Even though they're wearing different badges, I'm sure people will still remember where their roots are.
Oh, they're used to it, and if you watch collegiate football here in the Philippines, it's very physical. the tackles do come flying in from time to time. ADT now operating on the right flank. Kekkonen so tidy on the ball there, absorbing the foul.
And that's what you'd like to see, you know, the younger players coming through this ADT program, you know, trying to play with a little bit of composure, getting their heads up, picking their passes.
Shooting that right now, Gallantes. Chung in front of him. Gayoso central. Chung pushing forward. Olibias with the run on the far side, but what a tackle there from the veteran Simone Rota. Gayoso plays it easy to Gallantes. Quick feet. Kekkonen unable to keep possession, but ADT, misplaced pass straight to Carlon Mitchell. Play continues, getting a bit chippy there, just a few little tackles in the middle of the park.
Yeah, 10 minutes gone, it's still not settled down yet. Both teams are still really, you know, pushing each other, you know, trying to assert their dominance on the game by pressing. But I don't think it'll be long before, you know, one of the senior players at Kaya puts their foot on the ball and really starts getting into that rhythm. But of course, you don't know what the coaching staff's information is, what they've given to the teams, because we know that Kaya are very capable of just popping the ball around and making ADT chase the ball.
Again, attacking on the left side. Both Chung and Gallantes have been very busy on that left flank, really trying to bother Simone Rota. Now trying to switch play, but easily dealt away with there. So ADT getting a bit more possession here, trying to apply pressure from the wings. If you remember last time these two teams played in the league last year, Kenshiro Daniels got the opener for Kaya. Of course, this ADT team, a bit more beefed up, a bit more experience, a bit more skill in their team this time around. Maybe are trying to look for a different result here.
Yeah, I think it's just really the passes coming into the final third, where ADT will have to be looking to be a little bit sharper, a little bit more cohesive, because the experience of the Kaya back three is managing just to snuff out any of those little passes they're trying to put through. And of course, Kaya can be dangerous when they go forwards.
Trying to play in through the left side. Can he get to it? Barely, but it goes out anyway.
And both teams showing how quick they can be in transition, and ADT just looking to get the ball playing straight away. As you mentioned, on the left-hand side, they've been spending a lot of time and they've been switching long passes to the right, like this one here for Bias to chase.
Bias unable to take that down. Owano unable to take it away from Mitchell. Gayoso. Now Owano. Now it's Kaya's turn. It's played at such a frantic pace. It's as if they've piled up all the energy from the last year and now bringing it out.
Well, hopefully this is a taste of how these cup games will be. As I said, yeah, we could talk about brackets, but really it's 2 games. It's 2 games, it's 6 points. So really, if you lose, you put yourself on the back foot, and that's not how you start a cup competition. In a league, it's different. I mean, you can build into a league, but this has got to be the importance of this 90 minutes.
Quick feet there. That's Owano. Almost lost track of the ball. Gayoso tried to find Bias. Now a chance for Owano to play in Gayoso. Mitchell. Whistle blown.
I mean, Mitchell's not happy, but he's read some sort of book on how to read all these passes. Every single pass that's being played through, he's got something on it.
Of course, Mitchell, who has experience playing all over the world, you can tell that he's seen everything. He's basically faced all types of talents all over. Now testing the left flank of ADT as we take a look at the possession stats here. And Yeah, very even, but it feels like ADT have been more active in the attacking third of Kaya.
Yeah, that's how it looks. But we just saw there for the first time Mitchell just saying, look boys, just slow it down a little bit, get the ball moving. I think that's going to be important, as again, we're playing two teams that have very contrasting styles of play at different phases in their careers. So I mean, all the time the tempo's high, you might say, okay, ADT are looking good, but what if Kaya start playing a very tactical sort of game and moving and manipulating space like we saw them in their previous outing.
Gigantes. Able to save that one, but then Kaya now able to try and pin them here. Olivias rode the tackle, now finding Owano. And the return pass not there, and Mitchell there to clear things away. Well, it's been a back and forth affair. And Mitchell there to clear things out again. Bias, the shorter man, able to ensure that the ball stays with the white shirts. Cross in finally. But Chung unable to get any real contact on that one.
Yeah, again, ADT were building up and Mitchell was able just to read it. And again, when they're building up here on the right-hand side, they're putting a little cross into the box there. That's good. It shows a little bit of variation in the way that they can play. But of course, you're always going to be favouring the more senior players in the box when the ball's put up. Unless, of course, you can isolate Harvey Gioso, who's also excellent in the air.
Bidik. Amita. Kaya now trying to hold possession just a bit longer and finally does, but then the high ball forward just falling to the hands of Kamaran.
Incredible. I mean, Kaya there were just popping the ball around, and you can hear the calls from the ADT bench just to keep pressing.
Well, they have the energy for it, that's for sure. As Bidik fouled there, or no? Bidik is the one to judge with the foul. He's wondering, asking just what happened there. Yes. Well, unable to control that, Troy Limbo. It's Kaya. Now holding on to the ball a bit more comfortably here. So the question is, who can have that killer pass in the final third to really threaten the opposing goal? Both teams have been in this type of situation here, but no one with a decisive ball just yet.
Yeah, the difference at the moment between the way that the two teams are rotating the ball is, I mean, ADT are rotating the ball, but Kaya are really able to do it with a little bit more efficiency. They're able to move their players tactically and create overloads without having to really, transition into the areas and really push men forwards quickly. Two different styles of football, both very, very good to watch, but even better for people watching at home when they see the two different styles of football playing against one another.
Gallantes trying to find Owano. And that pass, they're trying to find Owano on the run. They've tried to do it multiple times here, but so far the defense of Kaya holding firm. Of course, when you have the veteran presence of a Simone Rota and Carla Mitchell, and you have Menzi on the other side, really that's going to be a tough group to sneak a pass through. And as I say that, a chance for ADT to do just that. Chung just loses it there and just slides in.
That's the first time that Amita's been caught on the ball. ADT very quickly to try to capitalise on that. And you see Dennis Chong here just driving forwards. Dennis is actually really good in front of goal when he gets an opportunity to snap his shots off. He can be quite clinical, enjoys scoring as well. But then you can just see here now Kaya just slowing the tempo down. You can see, you know, them rotating the ball and just working up the pitch.
What a run there towards the middle. Finally shifts it to the left side. Arboleda. Well, that was the best chance for Kaya. Unable to find any sort of contact, though, when it really mattered.
Yeah, it's really good football, and that's where the formation can play into Kaya's favour. You know, with the wing backs or the very wide midfielders, you can just see how much width it gives you. And of course, I would say, Kenshiro Daniels, midway through a season, is tucking that into the back of the net.
Oh, for sure. Again, it was Kenshiro Daniels who got the opener for Kaya last time around that these two teams played in the PFL season last year. And that goal, he was able to really pounce on a defensive mistake and took on the keeper one-on-one. So you have the three center backs for Kaya playing very deep, but then the two wing backs, if you can call them wing backs, are really wingers, as we see Carla Mitchell again just stretching and doing the right thing defensively. Daniels shifting that forward here. Angeles playing that forward to Bedic. So Kaya getting into this game more, finding their rhythm. And now you're seeing questions asked of Custodio and Rontini. Of course, Custodio, who used to play for LaSalle, was actually more of an attacking player. But then at this level, his size and his experience can be used well in the back.
Yeah, he's converted really well into that position. And Custodio and Rontini at the back are a good, strong physical presence. They combine well because they've both got really good feet, and also they show leadership skills. I remember Rontini when he was playing against United City, really happy to press and lead the press even against players like Schrock.
Gayoso playing that long to Bias. Bias can't get to it. And the late whistle there means that Kaya will get a free kick. I know that we want fans back at the venue making some noise. Kaya will always have some of the noisiest crowds because of their strong and loyal support from their ultras. But then it's also nice to be able to hear what everyone says. And hopefully we can keep that broadcast friendly as much as possible.
Oh, yeah, it massively. I think for the coaches at home, I mean, the ones who are still very active, getting players busy on their Zoom sessions and get people to listen, to reinforce the fact that communication is very, very important as a football player. Every single player out there is communicating. At the end of the day, it's a team sport.
Ondini kicks it out to Forzuelo. Playing forward, but then Menzi. Again, the three defenders of Kaya just doing a great job reading each and every pass thrown their way. Again, when you have the likes of Rota, Menzi, and Mitchell there, you have a wealth of experience for Kaya to build upon.
Yeah, their formation really suits them when they're trying to build forwards. You can just see the little diamond that's building up at the back, with Mitchell at the base of the diamond, and then Armita just at the top of that diamond. And as soon as he turns, he's got lots of options and lots of width as well.
Amita, now to Rota. Back to Banzon. If you are familiar with the Kaya campaign in the AFC Champions League. Zach Banzan was responsible for all of their blogs. So he has promoted himself just from being the team vlogger and reserve keeper to being the #1 choice, as it goes out there for Horikoshi.
And you can see there the patient build-up from Kaya was just, you know, pulling ADT in so Kaya can just readjust and play through the lines. A little bit of the tempo's come out of the game. I mean, it was ferociously fast for the first 10 minutes. It was always going to settle.
Oh, what a great ball pushing forward there. A chance here for ADT. Can they find a decisive pass? But then it is just shifted forward now for Kaya. Now a chance for them to go on the attack. Amita driving forward. Now Daniels goes back to Amita. But Kekon in there to clear things up.
That's a great weighted pass down the left wing there. Dennis has done really well, but would be a little bit disappointed in himself with the quality of the cross that he produced.
Bedic just shifted that forward. Gayoso now very well deep in their own territory. Well, a chance to redeem himself here if he can get control. So both teams getting their chances really, but unable to set anyone up. So the build-up is there up until that final pass that could actually result into a chance.
Well, the thing is, it's when you're playing games of football, the low rotation side, number-wise, is always much easier than the high rotation. And if you're playing your through passes from deeper, the percentage completion is always going to be lower. So it's going to be which side can get the ball into the opposition's half and really make more combinations in their half. That's really the key to, you know, unlocking football at a higher level.
It requires patience, it requires discipline and a bit of creativity.
I mean, just like Man United used to be able to do.
Let's not.
I'm still bitter. I'm still bitter.
About
I had to
Man
mention
United
it because I'm still
the
bitter.
moment. Now, I am with you, but this is all about good times. As our conversation about Man United, really, it also got our friends in Daf Tupas very sad. Menzi. Again, this base that Kaya has defensively, it seems so tough to crack. It's not just because of whatever athletic ability that they have, it's just that they're always at the right place at the right time, and that comes with the experience of these three center backs in Menzi, Mitchell, and Rota.
I mean, something which will be, you know, really interesting to see how, as it unfolds across the cup, is whether or not Kaya will keep this formation, or whether this is a formation that they will be using because they are playing the younger ADT side that are known for really pressing. So, I mean, as you can see the difference between rotating with 4 and rotating with 3, it just means that when Kaya do go forwards, they potentially have an extra player, and it's going to be about finding him. For example, on this left-hand side here, if anyone switches the ball over.
Kinshir Daniels trying to return it to Bedic. Unable to do so. Custodio with quick feet, though. Gets the foul. A bit of frustration there from Daniels, and you can understand why. Got a kick on in. ADT now just trying to find their own rhythm, trying to build from the back. Again, in the early stages, we saw them attack relentlessly almost on the left side and trying to switch things to Olibias. But right now, trying to find new ways to be dangerous here. Talking about ADT, Kaya allowing them to play in their own half.
And that's the problem with ADT building slowly. It just gives the opportunity for Kaya to form that 5 across the back and makes them very, very tight and compact.
Trying to find Ivan Owano. And just cleared away by the Kaya backline once again. Amita in control here, slowing things down. Take a look at the foul count there. Kaya with a few more fouls compared to ADT. As Amita trying to pull the strings here. Melisa. Bedic. Now Arboleda. We have a runner inside. Arboleda takes his time trying to find Bedic but gives it away. Kekkonen. Fouled from behind and easy call there for the referee. A friendly conversation that I'm sure if we increase the volume we could hear, but I don't know if we should.
It's one of those things when you're playing. I mean, it is 22 men out there, and of course, following the build-up and just knowing how important this game is. It's still 0-0. You know, at the end of the game, would Kai necessarily be happy with a 0-0? I don't think they would be. I think they will be going for all 3 points today. But of course, ADT will have something to say about that. And for those of you who followed the under-23 national team campaign, you will know. And I don't want to, you know, find some wood somewhere, touch wood. I mean, they haven't conceded in the first half at the top level for, you know, a considerable amount of games. And I think that's also something which was a trend when they played in the league last year. So coaches will be aware, and if they weren't aware, they will be now, because I've just said it. ADT are hard to break down in the first half.
But can Kaya unlock this defense here? And almost a chance there. The late run from Horikoshi from the right side going central, almost resulting in what could have been the opening goal.
Excellent build-up play. Arboleda, they're just rolling the ball through. Just that little overload was just enough, and when the right wingers come across there, it's difficult to do. Covered a lot of distance, but Kaya showing some intent.
Janjan Melisa standing over this one. As a referee, they're just sorting things out in the box. It feels like that happens every time there's a corner.
Read an interesting stat about corners this morning while having coffee. Out-swinging corners create more chances, and in-swinging corners create more goals. And this is an out-swinging corner.
So let's see whether or not the trend continues there. Cleared away. I was about to say, I know what book you read that from, and we can have the discussion over that over coffee sometime soon. Great ball forward, trying to find Oli Bias, but then cut away again. So Kaya have had arguably more dangerous chances, putting the ball in more dangerous positions compared to ADT, but then ADT just can break so quickly. There's an understanding for this Kaya team that they still have to be solid at the back, despite the inroads they are making going forward. Mitchell. Menzi.
They are definitely just trying to get that front three of ADT to press so they can play through like that. That time ADT read the ball.
Chong able to keep it. Quick feet on the left flank. But that'll result in a throw-in.
I mean, players like Bias and Chong have come from excellent pedigrees in terms of their youth development. For those who are wondering, Hertha Berlin and RB Leipzig. I mean, that's a quality standard to come from. So, I mean, you can kind of gauge, you know, technically, you know, where they've got their skill set from.
Again, finding inroads on the right side, Horikoshi. So when you look at the formation that Kaya listed, Horikoshi is a right wing back and Melisa is actually the right winger, or at least a right forward. But the way that they're playing, really, Horikoshi is the right winger and you have Melisa really being a wide center forward.
And I think once or twice we've seen him with that, back row of 5, but a lot of the time it's Arboleda who's having to, come in. And I think a lot of that is because the attacks of ADT have generally been on the left-hand side.
Orikoshi. Trying to find Mitchell, but no good. ADT able to clear out. Can they go on the counter here? Chung dispossessed. And Kaya a chance to pressure once more. Amita. Again, so calm at the back. And actually, this entire Kaya team is so composed on the ball.
And you can find that composure from, playing at such a high level like they did earlier in the year when they were in that AFC Champions League group. You suddenly start to see things much clearer. I mean, sometimes the tempo will feel a little bit slower, you'll feel more comfortable, and then you'll be able to move the ball around. Really, really good for Philippine football that we've had 2 clubs now competing at that level.
Exposing more local talent to really the continental stage. Upping the level here at home. ADT swinging that in from the right, now shifting to the left. Arboleda, quick feet, but unable to find a teammate. So both teams able to find ways to get in the final third. Again, we are looking for that killer ball. We're looking for that pass to set up a chance as Daniels just throws that one away. Play is on so far. Chance here for Kaya to build from the center. Long ball forward, finding Kenny Daniels on the left side. Ball in and Bedic!
That's good football. I mean, that's Rota. That's what you get from experience. It's a lovely pass across the field into Kenshiro Daniels, and it's a fantastic touch. He's known for being technical. It's a great little lifted ball into the box. And again, that's one of those opportunities where if it happens, with 2 or 3 games, match fitness, match sharpness, and I think that's in the back of the net.
Olipias, what a tackle to win back possession. But then Bedic gets it in a very dangerous position, but AET able to survive. Custodio now.
Yeah, they have to keep concentrating as well, AET, because Kaya are starting to, build momentum, gain confidence in their ball movement. Great feet.
Again, Eric Gallantes was one of the better attacking players of ADT last season. Spent time with Hibernian in the Scottish Premiership as one of their youth players.
Yeah, he's good because he's left-footed. I think profile-wise, he's quite similar to Sato. I think Sato's a fan favourite. He's really cemented his career as an Azkals player. I mean, like us all, we all start getting on with age, and it's nice to see that for the first time in a couple of generations, we have a good pipeline of players coming through.
Owano trying to find Bias, but Arboleda there to clean it up. Mitchell searching for the pass forward, but gives it up to his opposite number. So Kaya have been finding more dangerous chances, finding that killer ball that we were looking for the entire competition so far. But in ADT, well, you feel that with the way that they're breaking from their own half, just one misstep from Kaya, that could be disastrous.
Yeah, but ADT will have to start to build some sort of possession on the ball, because at the moment, I mean, the style of play, it's not as efficient as they would like. These long passages, these long spells that Kaya have on the ball where they're just moving the ball around, they take a toll, especially over 90 minutes. I mean, we're not in the heat of the day, but we're not going to get the luxury of having those little water breaks as well to, to recollect and slow things down.
Speaking of slowing things down, that's exactly what Kaya is doing here, trying to build things slowly from the back, and they have the creative players to do so. Rota. Now under pressure here after losing possession. Oli Bias trying to find Owano, who may have been in an offside position. Chung. It'll be a corner.
I mean, I was trying to eye up the benches earlier. It looks as if Kaya have the personnel on the bench to really shut up the game if they were to go 1-0 up. And whereas with ADT, it looks with Sandro Reyes, a player that's been followed, I know, very closely by a lot of Filipino football fans. He could really get onto the pitch and boss things around if the game does open up. If ADT can keep the tempo high, it's a big ask because Kaya are already starting to settle down the tempo. But the second half is going to be good, but there's still 5 minutes left. Let's see what happens.
Kekkonen with a ball in, and Mitchell there at the right place at the right time again. Remember, in the opening stages of the game, Mitchell was the man in between the ball and goal. And there he was again. Oli Bias now on the left side, trying to pick out the right pass. He finds Harvey Gayoso, who was unable to get it and just pushes into the ad board.
Incredible. Mitchell's positioning is absolutely outstanding. He's definitely going to be difficult to score against, especially if it's in those one-on-ones and those little through pass situations. But it's also the way that he's structuring his defence. And when you've got a player like Simone Rota on your right-hand side as well, who's been there and done it as well, they're going to be very difficult to break down. I'm sure that the other teams involved in this competition are watching this game really closely.
What a pass there. Arboleda finds Janjan Meliza. Chance now for Bedic, but Bedic unable to get to it. Pass was just a bit too strong. Bedic. And a foul there against Kaya. But what a passage there from Kaya. A moment ago, they were under pressure, but they shifted from defense to attack so quickly. Iri Callantes and Jovin Bedic, the two men on the floor.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, games change and they adapt, and you can just see that. I feel that was more of an accident more than anything. I don't think there's malicious intent there. I mean, we know Bedic personally, and he's not that sort of player as well. He's come off worse for wears as well, it looks as it. So,
well, Bedic's the type of guy where he could run through a wall, and you're gonna ask the wall if the wall's hurt.
Yeah, there's some pretty tough players out on the pitch at the moment. What I like about the Kaya side at the moment is, I mean, the first 10-15 minutes they were really pressing. They showed that they can match, the energy of the ADT side, which is not easy to do. They've also showed that they can slow the game down and play that football, that little combination football that we saw a lot from them in the last season. But it looks as if on the counter-attack, they're a lot more cohesive this year. You saw in that build-up play there, the ball moved very smoothly out to the left-hand side, and when it was put in the box, they were not far off the ball. So, I mean, Kaya have definitely come out to do the business, but we have to remember, it's still 0-0. So ADT are playing a massive part in the game, and I mean, the 15-minute break to ADT is almost like a recharge. I mean, for older players, I won't mention people's names out there, but there are definitely people out there who are, pushing really, really hard, and 15 minutes won't be long enough.
In other words, Darren is saying to all the older players out there, you know who you are.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kekkonen in the middle of the park, trying to pull the strings from there. He finds Oli Bias. Bias loses out to Amita, but he gets it back eventually. Now the question is, where will the creative pass come from ADT? They've been getting into the right positions, but that ball to feed Owano or Bias or even Chong has been lacking. Now shifting to the left side, Gallantes. So that has been one of the bigger questions. Even if you're looking at the performance of the under-23 team back in Singapore, how can they create chances in a consistent basis? Because even here, that has been slightly an issue here for ADT?
If you're going to ask me, one thing that I would be looking at is the areas that we build up in. With ADT look very good at getting the ball wide nice and quickly, but realistically they're putting crosses into the box against much bigger, stronger and more experienced players. So I think they need to be looking also to pull the width, keep doing that, but also a little bit more creativity, combining in the middle and getting good numbers in up against the three centre backs of Kaya.
2 minutes of added time as both teams trying to fashion one last chance here before the halftime break. Again, this game started out with both teams as if on rocket ships, just going at each other at an incredible pace, and things have slowed down here, and so far it's been Kaya who have been fashioning the more dangerous chances, and ADT still looking for a way to really threaten Zach Banzon in goal.
It's going to be very interesting to hear what the coaches will say. Of course, we don't really get to hear what the coaches say at half-time, but we will see how the teams come out after the break to see whether or not they've made any changes, not just in personnel, but in mentality and in the way that they're going to set themselves up in terms of playing style.
Again, ADT trying to use their individual talent on the wings, and they have a lot of that, especially when you have guys like Gallantes and Chung. It's hard to get the ball off of them. But then how do you feed your goal-scoring threats?
Yeah, I think Wano needs to be getting on the ball and just looking just to set the ball off and get Harvey, pushing the ball forwards. Troy was able to do it early in the game, but it really needs to be really consistent, rotate, head up. Wano, just drop it back and then attack from a good, strong build-up.
Well, referee had a whistle to his mouth. I'm just waiting for them to play this in one last time before we head into the halftime break. And there you have it, 0-0 at the halftime break between Kaya and ADT. Both teams struggling to dominate the proceedings here in the first 45 minutes. But between these two, Kaya will probably be happier with the way that they have been moving forward.
Yeah, I think Kaya will be happy that they managed to settle into their rhythm. They were able to, create more chances towards the end of the first half. And of course, they also managed to, suppress ADT's really aggressive, pressing and the way that they were counter-attacking. So I think Kaya will be happy, but in terms of scoreline, this is something that ADT is very useful, and it's a good opportunity now for them to, try to put things together and try to come out in the second half with more ideas and try to get that goal that they've been waiting for.
So a couple of the highlights here from the first half. So there, Conchiro Daniels, with one chance that you felt that had there been more games played, he would have tucked it in quite nicely. And here on the other end, ADT trying to find inroads from the wide position. Dennis Chong unable to get his header on target. And here he is again on the attack. This time with a bit too heavy of a touch. But then of course Kaya, as we mentioned, all throughout created the dangerous chances. Now the question is, can they get that finishing touch? Now they just lack that strike towards goal. But it is the back three of Kaya FC that has found a way to neutralize every forward play ADT has made. And again, chance after chance here for Kaya. Not really forcing Camera to a save just yet, but then the positions that they're getting into has really worried the back line of this ADT team.
Yeah, and it's going to come down to one of those things where it will be a very tactical game over the next 20-25 minutes, and after that, if it's still 0-0, it could become a case of who wants it more.
Well, again, a draw here could make things very difficult. Again, each game matters. Only 5 teams in the cup. and a loss here or a draw could prove disastrous. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to the Copa Paulino Alcantara between ADT and Kaya FC. 0-0 at the halftime break, but not for the want of trying. Kaya FC arguably with the better forward play between the two, but the Azkals development team, boy, with the way that they surge forward, you have to feel that a single misstep from any of the center backs of Kaya FC that could result in a goal. Take a look at the halftime stats here. So Kaya edging possession ever so slightly, but it felt like they had the better of it in the last 10 minutes or so.
I mean, the stats are very, very close. We have to remember that the 48% possession of ADT is going forwards. So when they get it, they're getting forwards really, really quickly. And I mean, the possession of Kaya has been, as the game progressed, has been, more senior in terms of its approach. They've really been trying to move the ball around and trying to, look and create little passages where they can, get their shots off and get their little through passes in. So, I mean, Kaya will probably be happy looking at the stats. They probably will want to get more shots off. I mean, it's the first game that we've had in a very, very long time. And, I mean, the two chances of Kaya have been, possibly later on in the cup, their goals. But whereas ADT have just been a little bit lacking when it comes to, clear-cut opportunities which have been created, through build-up. But, I mean, whichever team scores first is going to be very, very difficult to score against, because I think that both of these sides, in terms of the players they have available, could potentially make it very, very difficult for the other team to get on the ball. So it's going to be one of those games where if there is a goal, it could become even more exciting than it already is.
Well, so far, looking at the way that these two teams have attacked, it is the wingers of both teams really that have been central to anything that they are doing creatively. We saw that a while ago on the left side, in particular for ADT, with Dennis Chung, Troy Limbo finding ways to get in as well, and Olibias on the right side for ADT. And on the other end, you have Arboleda, who's listed as a left wing back, providing really good wing play from the left. Horikoshi as well on the other side. So the question is, when the ball goes center, when it's time to score a goal, which team will find the way, will find the quality to open things up here?
And I think also with this Kaya team, they do have the opportunity of putting on, a playmaker, like you can see there with Massa, who's he's in his 10th year now playing for Kaya. And I mean, if anyone is going to be able to bring the ball up and start that little high rotation off, it's going to be that man there that you can see on the right of your shot.
So we're going to wait for the confirmation of the substitutions, but two subs here coming in for Kaya FC. Dylan De Broica coming in for Arboleda, who I just praised. I'm sure that will be another dimension attacking-wise for this Kaya team. And of course, Masa Umura coming in as well for Marwin Angeles, who was playing the center of the park. So imagine a shift of positions there. It's not a like for sure.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if De Broica is going to go out to that left wing position. He does have the engine to do it. He has played a lot of games where he's more comfortable when he's looking to go down the middle. But with Massa in there, I think that Kai will be able to hold the ball a little bit higher up the pitch. It's going to be really interesting to see between the two who's going to be looking to pick up the ball first, whether it's going to be Armita or whether it's going to be Massa. So that is something which we will be looking to see how it opens up. And it's made the game very interesting now, because on the bench of ADT, we know that ADT have a really good creative young player as well. And I mean, being a creative young player and playing against Angeles, he's played at a really, really good level. But I mean, Massa does have a few years on him in terms of experience. So that will be a really, really interesting battle should that happen.
Looking at some of the younger players here for ADT. So we talk about youth. So you have, with Masa Umura coming in, a 10-year veteran of Kaya FC. Of course, you look at the bench of ADT, you were talking about just how young this team could be. And they actually have a player here who was just turned 18, really. So it's going to be one of Let's see whether or not he would factor in the game or throughout the competition. As we have the confirmation of the substitutes. So ADT, still in all white, Kaya in all black. If you're just joining us, welcome to the Copa Paulino Alcantara. I'm Paolo De Rosario alongside Darren Hartman. Eager to bring you this game, the first domestic cup competition in quite a few years. Again, the league was canceled this year, but glad to have this one. And of course, glad to have it over on One Sports. And for those watching online, thank you for joining us via Puso Pilipinas and over at Smart Sports as well. Glad to bring local football to the wider viewing public. As we have the best young talent from all over the nation being featured here in front of all of you. So Kaya immediately with the pressure. Eric Gallantes almost lost his feet there.
I like this combination between Gallantes and Chong on the left-hand side. Last season, it was Harvey playing in that left-back position with Gallantes higher up the pitch, but this has created a lot more in terms of the way that they've been going forwards. Chong and Bias on the opposite side have been really good at their one-on-ones, at getting past their player and looking to get balls in the box. And really, if they can just get a little bit more creative, making sure that they can rotate the ball a little bit higher, that ADT might be able to get back a little bit of the possession which they lost to Kaya in the end of that first half. But Kaya have made changes. I don't think the players that have come on will need much time at all to settle. They are very experienced players.
We'll talk about Kaya. Arguably, athleticism-wise, they are at a disadvantage. But again, the amount of experience that they have, they're just always at the right place at the right time. They know what reads to make. And really, it's the type of skill that you can only get once you have all that experience. Now, Amita in the middle of the park, trying to find Daniels, and Daniels unable to latch onto it. Take a look at Eric Gallantes, Chiro Daniels. ADT now taking their time here in the build-up. Eric Gallantes.
Yeah, you can see straight away. It's just off your screen, but when you Kaya's 6 now, or holding centre mid, mostly is the experienced Massa stepping in the middle. That's a good ball out to the right-hand side to chase.
Limbo. No fouls, says the referee, but they earn a corner. What a pass there comes from Harvey Gayoso. So we're looking for a bit of creativity from the center of the park. The question is, where will it come from? On that occasion, Harvey Gayoso able to look for that pass to spray it wide right. Let's take a look at Dylan De Broica making his first appearance here at the Copa.
Yeah, it's an exciting way to play, but it's also a very tiring way to play. So at some point, in phases or in spells, ADT will have to be better at, retaining ball position, not just, across the back, but a little bit higher up the pitch as well.
ADT getting ready for this set piece, for this corner opportunity rather. And if you ask Coach Scott Cooper, they prepare their corner routines very seriously. I don't know what they call this, but the Congo line is up. Eric Gallantes. Juano unable to beat Carlisle Mitchell. And the ball will stay with the white shirts. What would you call that? Them lining up for the corner.
Well, it's one of those things where I'm not sure what it would be called, but I can tell you the importance of set pieces. There is a huge number of goals which are scored from set pieces. And of course, the more time you spend working on it, the more chance you have of scoring.
Gallantes unable to control that. Bedic trying to find a teammate on the right-hand side. Eventually does. Ball played in low, but straight to a defender. Janja and Melisa, with the burst of speed there, able to save the possession. Unfortunately, able to find a teammate in the final delivery. Simone Rota now playing very forward here in this possession. Trying to find job in Bedic. Bedic trying to save it. Custodio header away. Now Gayoso. Again, very comfortable play there coming from ADT at the back, but Mitchell there to clean things up.
Yeah, by putting a very experienced holding centre mid in Marcel Mora there, just really gives other players the confidence. They have the ability, but it's the confidence to play a little bit higher up the pitch.
So no team able to take hold of possession here. Simone Rota trying to find Bedic once again. Gallantes there to head it away. Dennis Chung. 3 black shirts around him. Foul from behind by Daizo.
And in there, that's just where you need that little combination. He's already drawn in 2-3 players, which means there will be players available. There will be like little scenarios that you can create and take advantage of.
Olibias now playing central. Again, as I mentioned a while ago, he can play anywhere and probably will. Kaya pressuring significantly more compared to the first half. And Bedic there to pressure Camarad and throw in deep within ADT territory. Rondini under pressure there. Bedic fouled from behind. Dangerous free kick here for Kaya FC to try to take advantage of. Janja Melisa standing over this one. Watch for the big center back, number 19, Carlisle Mitchell, trying to get his head on this one. And almost goes all the way through, but a white shirt gets to it. Dennis Chung. Quick feet. Now on the attack. Eric Gallantes is central. And the ball forward falls harmlessly into the hands of Zach Manzon.
You could see exactly what he was trying to do there. Just on his favourite foot was just trying to, swing it out to the overlapping run from left back position from Gallantes.
Well, the idea was there, but the execution found lacking. And Gallantes with a lung-busting run from left defensive position all the way up to center forward in that one. Carlisle Mitchell now just taking their time, telling his team to just calm down, take their time.
ADT doing a better job at staying compact and forcing Kaya long, but Kaya able again to just get a little bit of space out wide.
Bedic trying to play one through, but Gayoso there with the defensive clearance. Kaya still on the attack on the left side. Low ball in, and there's the opener. Kaya FC draw first blood. Well, Daizo who is listed as a right wing back, really plays on the right-hand side in the way that they are set up. And that forward run in resulted in the opener, finally carving up that space with that ball inward. Let's take a look at this again.
And that's where you want your right wingers to be. Kaya doing very well on the left-hand side, and when the ball is on the left and your wingers looking to play into the box, the opposite winger should be inside. He's unmarked. And of course, you're not going to miss from there. But it was good build-up play as well from Kaya. I mean, ADT had done a really good job to force them to play long, but they had managed to peel off 2 players out to the left-hand side, create that little overload, which they managed to find with a great pass out. It could have been Simone Rota who just pinged it out to the left-hand side.
And full credit to Odi Menzi to be able to put the ball in such a dangerous position. It felt like eluded 4 players before it finally found its way to the feet of Daiso. So 1-0 now in favor of Kaya FC. And a substitution here of Troy Limbo checking out, with Sandro Reyes, who has impressed in his stint with the under-23 team. And of course, Jethro Borlongan, who also impressed, now coming in for Dennis Chung. Borlongan was one of the brightest stars for the under-23 team. Very dangerous on the left-hand side moving forward. And of course, Sandro Reyes with eye-catching passes from the middle. Let's see how he plays alongside Kekkonen, who has had that holding midfield role throughout the game here so far.
And I'm sure the boys would have preferred to have come on with the scoreline being at 0-0. But now the scene is set. Sandro's a player that's been talked about a lot. He's the boy wonder that was scouted from Southridge's program and was playing in the Barcelona Scholar setup for several years. And you can tell that he's had that sort of level of training, excellent technical ability on the ball. And then, of course, Jethro Borlongan, who's come out onto this left-hand side. The younger brother of JB, who obviously played, all of those games and seasons in that very successful UP side under Coach Antot. The younger brother from Cagayan de Oro. Very proud of him. Managed to spend several years working his development. Electrically fast. Whether or not he's managed to sustain that, let's see. But the stat that really sticks in my mind was he was 14 years old and he ran 30 meters in 3.6 something seconds, which is absolutely rapid. And we have to see now. As I said, stage is set. If you want to make a name for yourself, these are the sorts of games where you've got to come on and you can see straight away that little bit of creativity and popping the ball that ADT missed. Sandro's going to bring it straight into the game.
Well, speaking about creativity, Kekkonen trying to find Oli Bias, and Bias unable to save it and takes out the corner flag and trying to preserve a throw in. So here, now with the introduction of Sandro Reyes, you have 2 players who are capable of pinging the ball from deeper midfield possessions in Kekkonen and Reyes. Let's see how ADT will try to utilize that.
I mean, we could just mention their ages as well, because Sandro Reyes is born 2003, and Jethro on the Borlongan on the left-hand side is born 2001. So these are very young. Something good about being young in a league and a cup like this is you're unknown. The right backs and the centre mids of Kaya will not have played against these 2 players before.
So the question is now for ADT, how do you respond? Going 1-0 down against a Kaya team that's so disciplined at the back. It'll be a tough nut to crack here. Gayoso trying to find Borlongan. Borlongan has it. Referee says no handball as ADT continue to play on. Sandro Reyes looking for a teammate on the right flank, finds one. Kekkonen. Quick feet. Trying to lift, trying to find Gayoso, but Carlisle Mitchell is there. And all of a sudden, so much more pressure now on Kaya. Now with ADT chasing the game. But so far, most of the balls that ADT have been playing have either been going wide or lofted too high and easy for Carlisle Mitchell to pick off. Of course, you have Coach Giovanni there. Going to take the place of Coach Scott Cooper, who's just taking a little break here after what was an eventful last couple of weeks on the road.
And of course there's a lot of preparation to do for the Suzuki Cup, but I'm sure that Coach Scott is tuned in and listening to us, and hopefully he's enjoying what he sees. The one thing I can say is that you know, the ADT program is working because you can see the philosophies are there without the head coach there, and that is a really, really big sign of a program moving forwards.
I'm sure you're sure he's watching. Weren't you messaging him during the halftime
Yeah,
break?
I was trying to play it cool.
Okay, no. Hello, Coach Scott.
Hello,
I hope
Coach
you're
Scott.
doing okay. Sandro Reyes now in the middle of the park playing with Kekkonen. Again, these two players creatively are really the creative spark will come from them, at least based on how they're set up. As Borlongan unable to hold on to possession there.
And you can just see now that that's the first time, you know, in a while that ADT have been able to get that combination, make 5 or 6 passes in Kaya's half. I wonder if Kaya will revert back to a flat 4 at the back. It'd be very interesting to see if they will.
So Janjan Meliza will be checking out here for Kaya, and Rio Fuji checking in for Kaya FC. Janjan Meliza, good shift for him. Again, the speed has always been there.
And of course, one of the players that come over from Stallions to help support the campaign in the Champions League.
Well, the referee says foul throw.
Substitution.
So yes, that does happen, and even at this level.
I was checking that in the first half. I just didn't really want to say anything out of respect, really. But it did look as if there was a couple of times that the foot was up while they were taking the throw in. To be honest with you, a lot of the times you might get away with it at this level. But the referee's assistant, Merlo, who I've actually known for a very, very long time. Got some great stories about her training with the national team and Phil joining in and being as quick as Phil. And I'm not lying. If Phil was watching this, and I'm sure he will probably watch the replay, he will agree with me. Excellent to see her career blossom and obviously representing women's football on this sort of level as a former national team player to find a career path through FIFA. Excellent. I applaud her.
Of course, Coach Merlo is the lineswoman right now in this fixture. I'm sure you'll get to see glimpses of her later on if Kaya do attack on the right-hand side. So ADT getting a bit more possession here, but then unable to get much of it as Daiso fouling Sandro Reyes. So what can Reyes do here? Again, this ADT team works so much on free kicks, on corners, on opportunities to really just throw chaos into the blender.
Yeah, and I think a goal from ADT you will feel the passion in and around it. It's been coming.
Low ball there for Sandro Reyes. And ADT trying to keep at it, trying to keep the pressure on. Verzuelo chasing. Trying to get the better of De Bruyke. So all of a sudden, again, ADT applying so much more pressure on this Kaya team, who has been finding ways to just manage that pressure. It has, despite all of the added thrust of this ADT team moving forward, still no real clear-cut chances for them.
Yeah, it's one of those things now where also Kaya would have come out with the the ambition to get a goal. You never know when you're going to score, and they have scored early. So whether or not there will be information that comes from the coaching staff, that they adjust the way that they play, do they slow things down, do they go for a second goal? But I think if I was Kaya right now, I would probably leave it up to the senior players at the back in Mitchell and in Omora. They really should be the ones dictating the tempo and the pace of the game, because they're the ones at the end of the day that will have to deal with any counter-attacks and the transition of ADT.
Scotty Kekkonen trying to play a little 1-2 with Gayoso. Better control here for ADT, getting their way out of pressure. Owano unable to sustain it though. Eventually ball falls towards them. Take a look at the possession stats here. ADT with a lot more after conceding that goal. But again, it's one thing having the possessions, another being dangerous with it.
Yeah, and I think what ADT will be looking at is where they have their possession as well. In the first half, a lot of it was in their back four with their holding centre mid and then out wide. At least in this half, since the goal and since the changes, they've been able to hold more possession in the middle third of the pitch. And if you were to draw two lines across the pitch, in between the 18-yard line and the halfway line either side, the team that can keep the ball in the attacking half is more likely to win the game of football.
Ivan Owano there, already getting stretched out. Again, this is the first competitive game for a lot of these young players.
Yeah, of course, all of the players who were called up to represent the under-23s have managed to get some sort of playing time in. Not everyone got on the field, not everyone got to play. And then, of course, the players who had their stints in the C Games, some of them are, just over the age now. They're still in training to, the pass on of information and make the training sessions competitive and structured. Of course, that is their first game. So everyone's been in the same situation because of COVID, but I think the lesson that we can learn from it is that, football in the Philippines is still alive. People are still, fighting for it, and I mean, I hope that people are impressed with the standard of football, considering this is the first competitive game for many months for these players.
Well, Ivan Owano will check out of this ball game as you have Kainoa Bailey checking in for the ADT.
Azkals development team.
Of course, ADT with Bailey. Bailey has experience with North America.
Number 8, Kainoa Bailey.
I'm trying to think if Bailey actually managed to play in the last campaign or not. I'm not sure if he did. But I've heard from players who have trained alongside him, and he's a bit of an animal. He's very, you can tell he's extremely athletic and extremely explosive. So, I mean, if ADT can get those little combinations and just find the right weight of pass to him, that could be where their goal comes from.
Well, let's see whether or not that athleticism will translate. Again, it will be a tough task because you can have all the athleticism in the world, but then the experience of a Mitchell in the middle of the park is enough to negate it, really.
And that's what this game was always going to be about. And I think it will be that way for ADT for the Cup. But perhaps when we see them play in the league, they might be able to call themselves experienced players as well.
And Mitchell with a mistake there, trying to play a little 1-2. Sandro Reyes, a bit time on the ball. And really just slipped before that shot. He had a runner on his right, but it was always going to be a threaded pass, regardless.
Of course, and what we can remember is that there were a lot of players here who were recently playing against a Korean side, which was to the highest of standards. a massive percentage of the team playing in K1, which is one of the dream leagues for any player on the Asian circuit. And of course, there, when we see a couple of players who have been playing at a good level combine, you can start to see a future.
RBGay also looking for a foul, but not getting it. Kaya get the ball back here with the throw. So 1-0, still in favor of Kaya. Jovin Bedic pulled back there. Now a chance for Kaya to double up their advantage here. From a free kick. Rondini judged with the foul. Taizo standing over this one. For a second there, I was wondering if he was meditating or stretching. Pretty sure that was stretching. Horikoshi with the delivery. And almost a chance there for Kaya, and finally doubling up their advantage. And you see what that means. Simone Rota, right place, right time. ADT unable to clear it. And the veteran gets his goal.
And you can just see just what it means to them. I think the 2 goals there is the cushion that an experienced side might need just to try to, see the game out. They came here with a job to do, and at the moment they're doing it.
Let's take a look at that again. So the delivery in was high and worrisome. And of course, the ball just ping-ponged in as soon as Jovin Bedic returned it. Again, Simone Rota, born in the year 1984. And his birthday was yesterday. So really, that's a bit of a belated birthday gift.
And that would be a harsh lesson learned. I mean, when you're playing against a more senior side, giving away set pieces.
Well, the second half woes continue for this young Azkals development team. Again, the under-23 team that played in Singapore did not concede a single goal in the first half of all of their games, and it was in that second half where they got found out. And so far, though this is considerably a different team, still the same problems. Yuri Callantes.
Arnel Amita, replaced by number 27, Shirmar Felonco.
So Felonco checks in for Arnel Amita as Kaya looked to ride this one out, hopefully with a clean sheet. So far, ADT, you look at how they played here in the second half. You saw them apply a bit more pressure, introduce more creative players. What's lacking for them?
I think it was just the transition really between the first half and the second half. It's really interesting to see, how 1 or 2 changes has really affected the style of football that the team is playing. And perhaps, I mean, you don't want the style of football to necessarily change that much. So, I mean, is it better with, the creativity and the extra passes in? Yeah, they are 2-0 down. But I think that moving forwards, if they didn't change, they would have been 2-0 down. So it's just one of those things they've just got to get more used to, playing, keeping possession, playing higher up the pitch and making things happen. And that way they won't get, kind of like Kaya have really managed to build themselves up and really grind down ADT.
Kekkonen. Olibias. High ball, harmlessly for a goal kick.
But again, the extra passes in the middle just meant that ADT had more players in the box when that cross came in. Wasn't the best of crosses, but in the first half it really was. Dennis Chong on the left-hand side, one-on-one, cross into the box. Not really anyone, able to get into the box on the counter-attack in transition. So it's definitely more positive from ADT. The scoreline doesn't reflect it, but you can't take away from the fact that Kaya are a senior side that have played in the Asian Champions League, and they're playing with the experience and just that calmness about them, and they were able to do the right things at the right time.
Taylor shots on target here, so 50% shot conversion rate for Kaya FC. 2 goals from their 4 shots on target. On a possibly costly mistake here for ADT. Custodio with the errant pass. And referee saying that it just went down just a bit too easily.
I think so. No complaints there from the winger, so good decision there from the referees just to play on.
Keponen now to Gallantes. Gallantes not to Bailey. Bailey playing very low. So really this ADT team playing without a traditional striker. Trying to pack the middle. Right now the most forward player for ADT is Harvey Gayoso. The question is, can they supply him with any chances? Reyes, good feed in the middle. Going wide left to Berlongan. Berlongan couldn't keep possession, but Bailey's there. Back to Berlongan. Harvey asking for it, but Mitchell there to clear it away. Bailey. Shot straight at Banzon, and Banzon there to collect easily.
Now starting to look a little bit more like a national side, which is able to just make 8, 9, 10 passes and then end product. There's a cross, there's a shot, and that's what was really missing in the first half.
Berlongan battling for it, but loses out. Daiso asking for a card there, felt that was excessive. Of course, Horikoshi got our opener here in the Copa, Paulino Alcantara. Rota playing it long, trying to find Bedic. Broika so calm in the middle. Chiro Daniels. Now to Fuji. Can't get this cross past the first defender. Now Oli Bias. Finding Bailey. Gayoso getting it to Reyes. Berlongan to his left. Berlongan. All the way back to Gallantes. White shirts in the box, but as always, Mitchell there to clear.
It's one of those things again. Good football from ADT. It's a nice build-up. Perhaps slowed down a little bit when Jeffro Berlongan got the ball on the left-hand side, but was able to recycle. But when the ball went in the box, Mitchell was just there. Again, right place, right time.
Well, Mitchell, we just saw a while ago, trying to stretch his hamstring. So, question is, can he last the entire game? Reyes. Kekonen. Great move to get away from Daniels. Oscari. Bailey. Back to Oscari. He's been the pivot for this team. Kekonen. Surveying. Trying to find Gayoso, but it's straight to Banzon.
Much, much better football from ADT. 5, 6 passes, and then tactical there, where Berlongan just went inside and Galiantes went out on the outside, and that's the first time they've done that in the whole game. So definitely positive. I'm just trying to get used to calling Jeffro Berlongan. It's really difficult for me because I coached him for quite a long time.
You can call him Jethro. I'll just mention his last name every time you mention it.
But of course, you're talking about players like Jeffro
Berlongan.
From Cagayan de Oro, and of course, I don't think it's a rumour because the Rapids, Cagayan de Oro Rapids, are putting together a side, and it's a real hotbed. There are other players as well from there. Troy Limbo is from there. Also, Carlo Durin, who unfortunately looks like he's got a partial on his ACL, also from Cagayan, and of course there's lots of other players who are from that sort of area. So it's great to see that football is going to be represented in the PFL from Cagayan de Oro.
Daiso stopped that with his face. Fortunate accident, but able to ride that out. Galiantes tackled hard from behind, but play continues there. Berlongan so Oscari Kekkonen saying that he's gonna deliver this one in, actually waving Bailey away, saying that I got this.
And he's come alive since Reyes has been introduced into the game as well. I mean, he's got that player now that he can bounce the ball with. Deep to the far post, good area.
Ball straight to Banzon though. Of course, with Reyes introduced, it feels like Kekkonen now has more space since there's so much more attention on Sandro Reyes because he's just so creative on the ball. But still, despite having all that creativity in both Kekkonen and Reyes, ADT struggling to create a clear-cut chance. Eric Galiantes, despite the slight frame so strong, able to ride out the tackle and keep possession. Reyes trying to play a little 1-2 with Gayoso, no good. Chance for Kaya again, De Broica finding Fuji on the left. Using his space, getting past one defender, and is, well, at least trying to get fouled. Referee says nothing doing. Harvey Gayoso. Now Olivias. Back to Harvey. Harvey spraying that wide left, looking for Berlongan. Berlongan unable to get to it.
If players are wondering, people at home are wondering what ADT are doing, and I'm sure that Kai have done it a couple of times, but I just mentioned it from the goal kicks. Of course, now you're allowed to receive the ball inside the 18-yard box, which was something which was introduced in Europe, I believe, as early as the start of the season, and it's nice to see that it's being implemented here. It's all really about getting the ball on the floor, playing football, being creative, and giving a good spectacle. It has improved the game, and it's good to see that teams are already using it to their advantage.
Camera coming way up. As ADT trying to introduce more numbers in certain areas just to hold on to possession more. But as I say that, Kaya win it back, and Chiro Daniels now on a run. Finding Daiso Yurikoshi on the right side. Rota. Amasa. Daiso. Rikoshi getting the better of Galiantes. Low ball in, straight to Camarad. Sandro Reyes surveying the field.
It's nice to have both teams really punching the ball into people's feet now.
Olivias trying to find the run of Berlongan, nothing there. Galiantes has some work to do defensively. Daiso Rikoshi trying to play a little 1-2. Masa Omura can't get past Custodio. That was a meaty challenge. Bailey unable to keep it. And it has been frantic again. It's like the start of this contest with a bit more quality.
Yeah, and I mean, the ball is popping around and the players have got the confidence and you can hear the ball moving. And that's exactly what you want to be seeing in this cup competition here.
Hirigoshi trying to play with Omura. De Broica using his body as a shield. Back to Masa. Masa so calm, so collected on the ball. The veteran able to preserve possession. Ryofuji plays it all the way back to Carlisle Mitchell. And Kaya looking to kill this game off. Riding the pressure from ADT.
Yeah, the clubs have got to remember to be, efficient when they're winning. Also, you've got to make sure that your, recovery is good because the schedule can be quite tough. I mean, we're talking about playing, it's not a lot of games, but it's the fact that we haven't played games for a long time and the games come thick and they come fast. So efficiency is going to be key. Yeah, this is a really good game. It's quite a close game still. 2-0 still quite a close game. And clubs won't want to concede a lot of goals.
Berlongan now on the left side. Now Bailey. 2 white shirts in the box. And Bias had a hand on a defender. And substitution will come in. So Eric Giganto coming in for team captain Joven Beric.
Yeah, and clubs have got to start thinking about, their next games. Also, job done if you get 6 points. You get out of the group first. It gives you the advantage of playing second in Group A. But of course, it's one of those things where with United City pulling out of the competition, I mean, if it looks set that Kaya are going to come first, then of course it just makes it really, really important, that clash between Stallions, the Stallions game which is coming up. So really, really interesting to see now how the game management is handled by both of the teams. ADT, of course, will want to get a goal in this game. There's still enough time left as well to get that goal. But of course, in the back of the minds now for the coaches, they will be starting to think about their next lineups.
Substitution for Kaya FC-Iloilo.
Not long to play now. Kaya FC trying to hold on here. And ADT trying to find a lifeline. Time running out on them.
Eric Giganto.
As Kaya looking to kill this one off. Well, the pressure is on when you're helping your opponents up.
Yeah, that's the big one, isn't it? Stallions against Cebu. And I know that Coach Ref is watching with the rest of the boys from the Cebu team. I hope they're enjoying this, and of course they've got that one game which they really, really need to focus on. And I know that Stallions have been preparing. They want their first stint at the AFC level. Well-structured club. They've got a facility that they can train on in Binyan. And that's going to be a really, really good game because Cebu are coming into that with some players who are known, some players who are unknown.
Trying to find Custodio with that free kick, no good. As Kaya hoofed that away. Olibias. Back to Camerad. Berlongan. Custodio. And ADT have done a good job of actually having possession. But doing something with it is a whole new matter altogether. Sandro Reyes unable to ping that wide right. Kekkonen trying to save it and ends up fouling Horikoshi instead, who crashes into the ad board. So Kekkonen will be adjudged with a yellow card here.
First yellow card of the game. I mean, it has been a well-contested game, but I don't think anything has been, you know, too malicious. I think that's just very, very keen to get on the ball.
So Kaya with a 2-0 advantage here, looking set to take maximum points, and will do their best here to keep a clean sheet. Of course, we've seen stranger things in football. Let's see if ADT have a bit of magic in them.
As I said, they will want to get that goal. Sometimes when you're a younger side, you know, in a league, sometimes you need that first goal, and the rest of the goals will come more naturally.
Sandro Reyes. Unable to find his right wing back, as we're close to entering added time here. Looking at the board from across the pitch, it looks like an expected 4 minutes at the very least. As an red card is shown here, as tempers starting to flare here, as ADT chasing and chasing.
Additional time, 4 minutes.
So 4 minutes of added time, the confirmation is there. Well, the second half performance from Kaya, you'd have to say, if you're a Kaya fan, it's a great start for the season for them. Again, this is going to be a very short season. So really, it's been a dream come true for them, coming out big here in the second half.
Yeah, and they're still looking to get the ball forwards as quickly as they can and try to pick out Kenshiro Daniels on the counter-attack.
So Kaya players saying that the ball should be played out, but then ADT still in the hunt for a goal. Borlongan on the left side. Ball harmlessly goes to the other flank. The ball finally played out. Kenshiro Daniels still on the ground, saying that he got hit on the head. So for ADT, it's back on the drawing board for them. Again, defensively, especially in the first half, they were solid. But then lapses of concentration as the game wore on is something that they may have to address.
I think the question I will put out to the fans there, because I know that ADT do have quite a big support following them, especially because, you know, their pathway into the senior national team. Would you rather have a 0-0 where players are working really hard in transition but less efficient, or would you rather take the 2 goals they conceded, but at least they were trying to play more football in the attacking half? It's one of those things. It's a learning process. I mean, the goal which was conceded from the set play, you could argue, just don't give away set pieces to more experienced sides. The first goal really, you know, triggered the change in formation and system from ADT. So it's one of those things where, you know, you've got to weigh it up. For me personally, I would rather see ADT play football because they can only get better. Especially with the age of some of these players like Sandro Reyes, you can see in the screen there. Has he turned 18 yet? I mean, he's born 2003, so he's either 17 or he's already just turned 18. That's a great age to be and playing at this level. I mean, Kaya have been professional, and they have done the job that they've needed to do. They've got a couple of goals as well, which is a little bit of a breather.
Mitchell kicking that away. Zach Banzon holds on to it here. So ADT looking Like they need more answers, at least going forward. That has been a constant theme since the Under-23 tournament in Singapore, where they arguably had more talent on the field, at least on paper. But still, losing 2-0 against a team that would fancy themselves as favorites for the entire competition.
Yeah, I would say talent-wise, it's still quite even between these two sides. I mean, the difference really is the experience and the level that some of the players have brought in. I mean, having someone like Mitchell at the back makes a really big difference to the way that your back four plays.
BS. Fuji clearing that away. As ADT just counting the seconds. Kaya rather just counting the seconds to the final whistle.
And of course, when that happens, that becomes a foul throw because the ball come into play. If the ball doesn't come into play, you can take the throw in again.
So referee just giving a bit more time after a few of the injuries were addressed, and a shot straight at Camarade. Last chance saloon here for ADT to get a consolation goal. And Olivias finding Sandro Reyes. Reyes finding Bailey, but unable to latch on at the key moment. And there's the final whistle. Kaya FC getting the job done against the brightest young stars in Philippine football. The ADT falling 2-0. And it was a combative first half performance for ADT defensively, but in the end, Kaya more clinical in the second half, taking advantage, especially in set piece opportunities to get over this ADT team that has just so much hope in them. But in the end, the experience of Kaya really shining through.
Yeah, I think you managed to get it there. Kaya were able to, move the ball and create opportunities. And ADT were able to move the ball, but they weren't really able to, be creative enough and create enough clear-cut chances in the final third. But if you're talking about a game which was worth watching, this was a fantastic game of football. A really, really good game of football. And the goal scorer there, Simone Rota, days just after his birthday. You mentioned the year he was born. I don't think we should do that.
So let's take a look at that goal coming from Simone Rota. It just pinged inside the box.
Gentlemen, the final score is...
Rather, let's just take a look at the highlights from the second half.
2.
As really the left side of the Kaya team just became a source of penetration there that opened up the left flank, the left defensive flank of ADT.
I think it's a combination of being able to overload that left-hand side, and then also the right wingers of Kaya who did their jobs and were able to get into the box and support. I mean, this is not the prettiest of goals. Wasn't as well constructed as the first goal of Kaya, but I mean, sometimes it just comes down to how much you want to put the ball in the back of the net.
Well, again, Simone Rota, right place, right time, and the first goal coming from Daiso Hirikoshi, doing what needed to be done to get the advantage. Take a look at that. Actually, from that angle, you can see that he was just the quickest to react to the ball and get the goal in. Again, full time, 2-0. Simone Rota and Daiso getting the goals in the second half, putting the Azkals development team to the sword. And when you look at what ADT have done, there's a lot to work on, a lot to develop here. especially on the offensive end. We say that over and over again, but really that's where their game lacked today.
Yeah, they were really good at bringing the ball forwards. It's not the result they would have wanted, but Kaya have done the job today with that 2-0.
Well, that's the first game of the Copa. Paulino, Alcantara, Kaya FC up 2-0 over the ADT, and we hope to see you again for the next match days.
There's an opportunity here, and we've got our first goal of the match. Leaves it to Ramsey to make it 3-0.
Yeah, of course, playing. Yeah, of course, playing against Kaya with a lot of experience. So the nag-qualify na sila for AFC Champions League. They've been playing together since maybe 4 years, 5 years ago. So matagal na nagsama yung team. And then, but I'm still contented with the performance of the boys. Although natalo 2-0, but that's our first game playing together as a team. So we'll do our best to adjust in our next game against Medjola.
Coach, congratulations on the first win. Reactions on how Kaya reacted, especially in the second half.
Yes, first half we expected ADT will press high, so maybe some players are confused a little bit because we didn't have official game so long. So especially ADT was really fresh and their mentally was there. So, but second half we fixed all, so that's why we are able to win. Thank you.
Interpret, coach.
No, it's okay, no problem.
Very slowly.
Good English, Daiso.
Okay.
First goal of the season,
Yeah.
and what a way to score it against a pesky ADT side. Your thoughts on this match?
So this goal is my first goal for Kaya also. So I'm happy to get the goal, and then we happy to get the 3 point. But first half we couldn't play well, so we have to fix the problem, and we have to discuss something.
One more question. Just your thoughts on your first goal. How happy are you with the first goal? Your first goal.
Huh?
Kaya.
Yeah.
How happy are you?
Me?
Yeah.
Super happy. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Salamat.
Thank you. Taken away.